Our world basically runs on projects. I mean, think about it. From disaster relief efforts to the very app on your phone, almost everything is temporary. But here's the thing. The way we actually study these projects is, well, it's kind of broken. It's stuck on a one-way street, and it's holding us back. In this explainer, we're going to dig into how we can start to fix that.
All right, so here's our roadmap. We're going to start by looking at just how project-driven our world has become. Then we'll get into the core problem, this one-way street of ideas. After that, we'll explore two really interesting solutions, a top-down and a bottom-up approach. And we'll wrap it all up by asking the big question, why does any of this really matter?
So, first things first, there's this one single concept that really connects almost every major thing we get done today. We're talking Hollywood movies, humanitarian aid, you name it. Let's get to the heart of what that is.
It sounds a bit like a riddle, doesn't it? But the answer is what ties them all together. They're all perfect examples of temporary organizing. It's this incredibly powerful way of getting things done by pulling a team together for one specific mission with a very clear end date. Okay, that's the fancy academic definition, but what does it really mean? Well, think of it this way. Unlike a traditional company department that's supposed to exist forever, these groups are more like pop-up shops for getting work done. They come together, they hit their goal, and then they disband. And believe it or not, this model is quietly becoming the engine of our entire modern economy. And I mean, just look at how common this is. We're not just talking about managing a construction site anymore. This is, well, it's everything. From developing entire smart cities and launching new apps to coordinating activist movements and responding to global crises, it really is the new normal.
Okay, so temporary organizing is everywhere. Simple enough, right? Well, here's the twist. The way we think about all of this is completely unbalanced. For decades, we've basically been studying it with one hand tied behind our backs, and it's about time we changed that.
So for a long, long time, the whole field of project studies has been an intellectual borrower. It's been great at taking these big ideas from the wider world of organization studies, but it's been pretty terrible at sending any of its own unique lessons back. It's a one-way street, where all the traffic is just flowing inward, and almost nothing valuable is getting out.
And this quote nails the mission perfectly. To really move forward, we have to demolish this one-way street and build a two-way superhighway for ideas. All the incredible hard-won lessons from the world of projects, they need to start flowing out and challenging what we thought we knew about how work gets done.
So, how in the world do we fix this? Well, the good news is there's a new roadmap being laid out, a real plan to develop smarter, more practical theories about how work actually happens in the real world.
And the great part is, there isn't just one single fix. This research lays out two powerful but complementary strategies. You can think of them as two different pathways researchers can take to finally build that two-way street of knowledge we've been talking about. Let's check out the first one.
So, this first path is all about being a smarter borrower. It's about taking these powerful, well-established theories from other fields and using them to see projects in a totally new light. This is what we call the top-down approach. The strategy is to start with a big, powerful reference theory, a proven idea from another field, and use it almost like a blueprint to analyze the messy, complicated world of projects. When you lay this blueprint over a project, you can suddenly see all these hidden structures and connections that were pretty much invisible before. Let's make this feel a little more real. There's an approach called PDI, and it helps us see how these huge industry forces, like, say, the constant battle between saving money and saving lives in healthcare, actually play out in the day-to-day grind of a single hospital IT project. It shows us that the little choices a small team makes every single day don't just get the job done. They can actually reinforce or even start to change the entire system.
All right, on to the second path. Now, this one isn't about borrowing at all. It's about starting with what's really happening on the ground and building brand new, homegrown theories from direct observation.
This is the bottom-up approach, and it's basically the exact opposite of the first one. Instead of starting with a map, researchers go in without one. They dive headfirst into a complex, real-world situation, like a chaotic crisis response, and their whole goal is to discover the rules and patterns as they emerge, building a totally new theory from the ground up.
And a fantastic example of this in action came from researchers studying the COVID-19 response in the Netherlands. They saw this fascinating three-act story unfold. First, when the official systems got overwhelmed, new teams just spontaneously formed to fill the gaps. Then, these scrappy little teams started to evolve, creating their own rules and roles on the fly. Finally, and this is the amazing part, some of them actually solidified.
They became so effective and so stable that they became permanent fixtures long after the crisis had peaked. That's a brand new theory, discovered right there in the wild.
So here you have it, the two paths side by side. The top-down approach starts with a theory that already exists and uses it to help us understand projects better. The bottom-up approach starts with something happening in the real world and develops a brand new theory that we can then share with other fields. You really need both to create that two-way street.
So why does all of this academic talk about theorizing actually matter? Let's connect this back to the real world for a second and see what the practical payoff is when we get this right.
And this is exactly why it's so important. This isn't just about managing projects better. When we truly understand temporary organizing, we get a whole new playbook for everything. We learn how to build more innovative teams, how to navigate messy digital transformations, and, critically, how to respond faster and more effectively the next time a global crisis hits. Better theories really do lead directly to better outcomes.
And all of this leaves us with one last massive question. As our world becomes more fluid and more project-based, we have to ask ourselves, are our old ideas about stable, permanent organizations becoming obsolete? This whole quest isn't just about changing how we study projects. It might just be about changing how we see the very nature of work itself. Thanks for joining me on this explainer.